some of the answers are wild. They're like, it's 1369. Like, what is that even? It's insane, dude.
Do I keep all my limbs?
Okay.
You know,
Or do you come back fucked up from the accident?
right? No, that's literally what you do.
Oh, for me. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, that is what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. My job's fucking awesome.
They don't want you to branch out and diverge into things that may or may not interest you.
Which is why I have lots of cat videos on my feed.
On the flip side,
It'd be fun.
there you go.
I mean, I'm probably like, how much do you weigh?
Too much right now.
Me too, dude.
I mean, I'm chunky. I'm chunky.
Same, dude. I was doing really well, and then I got a girlfriend, and then it just crashed and burned, dude.
I have a pair of jeans that I just tried to put on.
Yeah.
I could not put them on.
Dude,
and those are like my
big boy pants.
No, those are my specific jeans that are like, if I can fit in these, I'm at the right weight.
Yeah, it's like a litmus test.
Yes.
Oh,
And
damn.
I fell far short.
Dude, I bought these. I told you last week that I bought these in Vegas, but there's only one other pair of pants that I owned that fit me.
Oh.
Every other pair of pants I've grown out of in the last like year or two. It's very depressing.
Something's got to be done.
Something's got to be done, dude. It
takes effort.
It takes so much effort, and it's like, I think the hard part is like it has to be constant. You can't let up. Consistency is key, and it's so difficult because it's like I'll be doing good for like 2 weeks or something, and then an event or something. There's always something. There's always something.
There's always something.
Like this month was CES. It took me out for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
And then it's like having that willpower and that dedication to just immediately just jump back into that routine is something I struggle with. That I have struggled with for a very long time.
Agreed.
And it can be something little too, like just like even if it's like something like all right, try brushing your teeth one extra time a day.
Yeah.
Like it's something so simple, but it's like it's so hard to take your vitamins. Start taking vitamins or a supplement every morning. Even that could be a struggle for me sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I was giving myself a pat on the back there. I was giving myself a little bit of leeway. Thank you for grounding me. You've been my ground.
I will mostly always call you out on your shit.
Someone needs to. Bro, you are my wife. You are my wife. One day Mel's gonna get actually jealous. Like
I'm kind of scared of that.
Yeah, me too. At that point, we'll both be in the doghouse. It's a weird love triangle we've got going on here.
But you know what?
It's a fun dynamic.
It works.
It does. Love comes in all colors and shapes and sizes. All right. Nobody judge us.
True that.
Oh man, how was your weekend, dude? What'd you get up to?
It was pretty chill. I was just mostly catching up on sleep.
Yeah,
and
that's nice. Yeah, just rubbing them out and recharge, regenerate.
Yep.
Got to regen before you degen. You know.
And laundry, man.
Dude, GTL, dude. GTL, Gym Tan Laundry.
Oh, I remember those days.
You remember the GTL era?
I remember that. And I remember having coworkers who would be like GTL, not unironically.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
At the retail place you used to work at?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah,
I guess the place you worked at, it was like
it encouraged fitness.
Yeah, it was very fitness forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
damn.
I wish I had because when I first started working there, I started working out. I got all enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
I was really in good shape.
Right.
And then I got sick. And I stopped going to the gym, and I was like, I'll go back next week.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back next month.
Yeah.
I'll go back next year.
Yep. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And now it's like, I guess it's been a decade. I probably due for some physical fitness.
Yeah, man. It's a struggle. I mean, I still want to try. It just seems so. God, I'm just bitching at this point. Like I'm making excuses for myself. You know, like that's the only real reason why I'm not losing weight is because I'm not taking it seriously enough and I'm not as dedicated as I need to be. That's the only reason.
You could continue to eat the delicious things that you eat.
Right.
And simply have a little bit less muscle, a little bit less fat, and a little more muscle by putting in hard work.
For sure.
But it is hard work.
It is hard work. Something that's been kind of helping me is refraining from eating late in the night. Like I usually try to cut myself off by like 6, 7 p.m. now, and I don't always make it. Sometimes I slip, but I do notice that it is kind of helpful to just not feeling super bloated and nasty the next morning. Just eating like downing a pizza at like midnight, and then just immediately going to sleep.
That's kind of my jam.
But
look at me. So,
but you also like do intermittent fasting too. Like that's the only thing you eat. You're like a crocodile. You eat like once a year.
I usually don't eat till afternoon.
Yeah.
But then I have like an 8 to 12 hour span where I will eat.
Yeah. Which I guess is still kind of intermittent because do you eat? I guess you eat at work sometimes.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I pretty much never eat breakfast.
Right. Yeah. Neither do I.
Unless I'm staying with my family because they are like 3 meals a day every day.
Damn. Really?
Like,
and are they like hearty meals? Are they like big full meals, or are they just kind of like they'll have like a yogurt for breakfast?
Well, it's usually something of an event if I'm visiting. So
Sure.
Breakfast will be like some nice
Eggs.
scrambled eggs, a little bit of cream cheese mixed in.
Dude, isn't it insane? Like how like some people just eat that every morning. Like they'll have like a hearty breakfast. Like I would immediately take a nap right after. I wouldn't be able to function.
If you worked on a farm, then it would be a functional breakfast. You'd go out.
That is true. You need
burn
energy.
off all that energy, and then
that makes sense. If you're up at 4 a.m.,
Yeah.
milking the cows and tending the fields and stuff, you need a bit of that. It's like I think Paul said like if whatever you lack in sleep, you can make up for with calories. Like it's just like I don't know if that's 100% accurate.
That
partially
seems
true.
like
Well, he says-
there's a limit to that.
Yeah, right. But he says like usually when I think he theorized like that's why like when you're super tired or sleep deprived, sometimes you get extra like hungrier than you normally are because like your body needs energy in one way or another.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
But I mean, I crave a chocolate bar all the time, so definitely.
They do make I probably shouldn't enable your snacking habits, but
Yeah,
there is chocolate out there that's quite good.
like
That's
yeah.
very low in calories.
Okay, it's like the super dark chocolate, which I like. I like.
I think the one that I had was called Choc Zero,
Uh-huh.
and it's not cheap. In fact, it's pretty pricey,
Okay.
but it was, as I recall, quite tasty and satisfying.
Yeah.
Without really having any sugar in it.
Oh wow.
So really, all you're getting is fat.
Is it like a artificial
And-
sweetener or is it just?
No, it's not. It's natural stuff.
Oh, okay.
If I recall correctly, it's a sweetener called allulose, either
Okay.
allulose or erythritol,
Okay.
and it's something that your tongue thinks is sugar,
Yeah.
and your body also thinks is sugar, but your body can't digest it or absorb it,
Okay.
so it just doesn't count as calories.
Oh.
But it tastes like. And the funny thing with when you're trying to make things that are low in sugar,
Yeah.
sugar actually has a really critical component outside of its sweetness.
Okay.
Sugar is a really important part of texture
Huh.
because
Like being able to detect texture or sense texture.
like the texture of the food item.
Oh, okay.
Like when you add sugar to a recipe for cookies,
Yeah.
then you eat the cookies.
Right.
Part of the experience of eating a cookie is usually there's a little bit of crunchiness because there's some leftover sugar
Oh,
crystals
I see.
in there,
Right. Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Or for example, in brownies, there's a fair amount of sugar in there. It's mixed into everything, but in addition to being sweet, it holds some water,
Uh huh.
and it kind of like
Moistens
stuff, and it kind of keeps things stuck
Softer.
together.
Oh, interesting.
So sugar actually has a pretty important structural component to a lot of recipes.
I didn't think about that.
So when there's companies out there that are trying to formulate like low sugar things,
Yeah.
they have to get pretty creative about how to replace not just the sweetness,
Right.
but the actual
binding
the
type.
functional nature of sugar in terms of binding things together,
Interesting.
holding moisture,
Yeah.
etc.
That makes sense. Oh, I didn't know that.
And that's why there are commercial kitchen like scientific kitchens basically for big companies that make
Right.
Specialty foods,
Yeah.
where they're just like going at it over and over, recipe trying to figure
Damn.
out, okay, what's the how do we dial this in
Right.
to get rid of some ingredient and to substitute something in
Yeah.
and have it still taste interesting and attractive.
Maybe that's why, like, do you think that's maybe why, like, there's so many artificial sweeteners for, like, drinks and, like, coffee and stuff, because, like, the texture is not really an issue
Yeah.
for a liquid?
Yeah,
for
no,
liquids?
that like
This.
here's something with 0 calories per can.
Yeah.
I can taste.
That's poison. I'm pretty sure it's poison.
I can taste.
No, it's potassium.
Maybe it's my imagination,
Yeah.
but the viscosity of this
Yeah.
is a little bit lower than a real full sugar Sprite would be, because there's with a
Right.
regular soda, there's so much sugar dissolved in it
Yeah.
that it makes it a little bit
A little thicker.
Yeah.
Interesting. This does taste a little thinned out.
Yeah, but otherwise, it's pleasant to drink and it doesn't have sugar in it.
Yeah, dude.
There's a lot of different, thoughts and opinions about artificial sweeteners, but
Right.
I think in moderation they're fine.
If you drank a can of soda every day, would you choose to drink a regular can of soda that has all the sugar in it, or would you choose this artificial sweetener?
I would choose something with artificial sweeteners, or maybe a fancy hippy dippy soda with natural sweeteners,
Yeah.
which would be like very expensive, but
Right. Like Olipop. Have you ever had an Olipop?
yeah.
It's kind of like
That's an example of the
health
direction I
conscious.
would probably look into.
right, for sure. It seems like a happy medium in between those extremes.
But I try not to drink soda on a regular basis. It's like,
Yeah.
especially with the ones with full sugar,
Right.
it's very addictive.
For
Like
sure.
I'll drink a Coke,
Yeah, dude.
and then the next day I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of Cokes in the fridge
Yeah.
at work. I could really go for a Coke.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, the cravings are that strong. Just
Yeah.
after having one, the next day, the next couple days, I'm like,
Right.
oh, a Coke would be refreshing right now.
Yeah, dude. It's the carbonation for me.
Yeah.
But also, like, there's something about it that hits different. Like, the sweetness of it hits different than, like, a LaCroix, like a sparkling water. You know?
Yeah.
It's a combination of those. Like, it's the sweetness and the cold kind of carbonation. The fizziness.
I went through a heavy duty sparkling water phase.
Yeah, I think I did too. When
went through,
LaCroix
like-
started blowing up, it was always in my fridge.
I tried all the brands. There's so many brands of
Yeah.
sparkling water,
Right. Bubbly.
and bubbly is a good one. Talking Rain is, I don't know if that's like a Costco private label one, but it's surprisingly good.
I only know Chocolate Rain. That one never goes out of style.
That's a classic now.
It's so weird that, like, yeah, that is such a. There's just some videos that are just like legendary, like in like the Hall of Fame. You know what I
And
mean?
yet-
There's some Hall of Famers.
I bet Mel has never heard of Chocolate Rain.
Never in her life. She's never heard of Charlie Bit My Finger, probably.
To be honest, I think Charlie Bit My Finger is a bit overrated, but that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But you also have to remember that, like, there wasn't as much content online back then.
Yeah, Memory was still in its infancy.
Yes, right. And I was talking to Mal about this earlier today. I was like, you realize, like, when I was on social media, like when social media first came around, and when we first started using the internet, when I was in high school, I told you this. I said when we were in high school, me and Ian were in high school, there was no video of anyone you knew existed online.
That's
you couldn't
true.
find a single
That's
video of anyone online, and she was like, her mind was blown.
Unless they were on the news or something, maybe.
Unless they were on the news. You could find photos because, like, we started getting MySpace and Facebook. The very early stages, but there was no video.
Yeah.
Not a single video of anyone in sight. And she was just like, what?
Mind blowing, right?
And it was, like, mind blowing for me to even just, like, say that, because it, like, made me think about how, like, we've come from, like, this time, this pivotal moment in technology. You know what I mean? And it's like,
It's interesting.
yeah.
Because don't stop if I was cutting you off from a good thought.
No. I was just gonna say, it's like, I guess every generation kind of has that. Like, there was generation, like our grandparents was like, well, I grew up, like, before the automobile was a thing, maybe great grandparents, but and then for like, and then, like, smartphones, like there's, like, different stages or whatever. But I think ours is particularly interesting because like the internet and particularly smartphones were such a quantum leap in how we live our daily lives.
Yeah.
That I think it's different than TV or like radio.
It's
in a lot of ways.
It's because it's taking so many functions and putting them into one, because a smartphone is effectively TV and radio and a camera and all kinds of things. Like I had a phase where I was trying to like take my phone and make it as close to a tricorder from Star Trek as possible.
What's a tricorder?
It's like the generic like sensing device. Like
okay.
You take your tricorder out and you're like, oh, there's radiation over there, or there's some sort of distortion in the time-space continuum over here.
Okay, so it's the one size fits all problem solving device for everything.
It's like the detector of everything.
It's like a Swiss Army knife. Oh, you were trying to specifically detect things.
Right. So I was like, okay, I can detect infrared.
Yeah.
Sound waves. I can map out like a spectrograph.
Yeah.
What else? I could generate any frequency of sound to my preference.
Yeah.
Which may not be the most useful, but it is occasionally useful.
You could probably detect where like stars were and constellations and stuff in the sky.
Right, exactly that.
Yeah.
I have an app that allows for Morse code.
Okay.
So let's say for some reason I'm stranded.
Yeah.
And I can take my phone and it will use the flash.
Yeah.
To send Morse code messages,
like SOS or whatever.
And then I can use the camera and point it at a light source, and if that's turning on and off, it'll actually, because I don't know Morse code.
Yeah.
But the app will interpret the message back.
Oh, interesting.
It can also do it by audio.
It can decode someone else's Morse code.
Right.
You could have a full conversation with another person with that app.
Right.
Damn,
exactly.
That's crazy. That's pretty cool.
And then I was trying to figure out how to get my phone to detect radiation.
Yeah.
Like ionizing radiation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's quite limited because it's pretty much if you put like tape over the lens of your camera so it's dark, and then you watch for little speckles of light of radiation hitting your camera CCD.
It's like penetrating, it's going through.
Yeah.
The tape.
But if you're at that point, then you're probably in a place you shouldn't be
Yeah,
anyway.
right. GTFO.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, dude. You are definitely like the definition of a power user. I feel like when it comes to phones, because like I just use it for the most basic like mainstream.
And that's
functions.
why I can't have an iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, even I'm like not that confined. I can't be that confined to a platform.
It is a walled garden.
It is. I remember like when we were in high school, like, okay, this is funny because like
this is
the
pre-iPhone.
This is pre-iPhone, but it's like when the iPod Touch first came out.
Yeah.
The iPod Touch was basically a smartphone, right, without a data plan.
Yeah.
And this was long before Apple had sort of imposed so many restrictions on its ecosystem.
Right.
So like I could go in, or what you could do is jailbreak. You could jailbreak it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically hack the firmware. And I like remember like uploading, like designing my own app icons and just like, basically swapping them all out and customizing it 100%. And then I remember getting an Android smartphone and being like, oh, like I can just go to the App Store and do this.
Yeah.
I don't have to do this crazy 5-point turn workaround just to like switch an icon out. So I mean, yeah, there's a bit of that for me too.
I remember the first time I saw somebody using Google Maps on their phone.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. And
yeah,
I got my own first gen Android smartphone within a few months after that.
Right. Yeah, you're just like, what?
And it's
I don't have to print out MapQuest directions ever again?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude. Yeah.
Exactly.
That was our parents' generation was like the Thomas Guide.
Or spend a bunch of money on a Garmin or TomTom
exactly,
or whatever
Garmin.
GPS thing.
Exactly. Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Everyone had one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And those
so there's
not
so
great.
many things that are integrated into your phone.
Everything, yeah. It's a Swiss Army knife.
It's a it is a Swiss Army knife,
To the
and
nth
we take it
degree.
for granted.
For sure.
To the point where like I know there's a lot of people out there who don't actually know how to get from point A to point B without navigational assistance.
That's kind of like me. Like I'm so reliant on. I'm not great with directions to begin with,
okay.
but I've also just allowed myself to use smartphones as a crutch.
Yeah.
So much to the point where it's like I would be totally lost without it. If I was in a place where like somewhere in downtown LA, I'd be like, it's not good.
I can't. I won't pretend that I don't. I'm not out there manually plotting out my course.
Sure.
For my average.
You're not
drive.
Mike. Mike is just like Mike will like he'll be in a foreign land or something, and he'll just like I could see him just smashing a phone and being like, we're just doing this, we're gonna just use a map, or I'm just gonna like just go based on my manly sense of direction. Like he's crazy. He's just like he's like very opposed to relying on which I respect and admire, but it's also very funny for him to just be like, you need an app for that. I'm like, calm down, dude, calm down.
I'm curious what the map literacy rate is, because like
It's gotta be terrible.
like just basically knowing how to, because I'm not an expert, but I know how to look at a map and figure out, okay, I can figure out which direction is north if I have a compass or if I'm paying attention.
Yeah,
I can figure out if I know, especially if I know where I am and I know where I want to go,
dude.
I can figure out how to get there by looking at the map.
The more time goes on, the less newer generations know any of that shit. Mm-hmm. There's the TikToks of like high school kids, like this one kid, he's an Asian kid. He's got a microphone. He's bringing around like a hand clock. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "What time is it?" He's interviewing, and they have no idea. They were never taught how to read a hand clock because they have phones. They have computers and they have tablets and everything's digital. Like some of the answers are wild. They're like, it's 1369. Like, what is that even? It's insane, dude, and it's just getting worse.
To be fair, a classic analog clock is not intuitive. It took me like a couple years to be
quick on it,
to be reliably good. It's almost like I have a weird area of what's that reading thing that makes it hard?
Reading Rainbow?
Brain fart.
Kindle? No, what are you talking about? Reading what?
It's a reading disability where you're like,
oh, dyslexia.
I
think you got dyslexia in that moment.
I was struck by something. Dyslexia. I still have a little bit of dyslexia when it comes to analog watches or clocks.
Yeah,
because I'll do this thing where I look at the hour hand.
Yeah,
and say it's like 5:45.
Yeah,
I might accidentally read it as 6:45.
Oh, you kind of jumped the gun. You on which side of the number it's on. Oh,
right.
Oh, really?
And that still happens.
Dang, that's a quirk. That's an interesting quirk.
Yeah, I like those watches. I actually need to get a new wristband for my Citizen.
Yeah.
Because I don't like using this as a watch.
Yeah.
I like just an analog watch that just is always working.
Yeah.
It's solar powered.
Yeah.
It's zero maintenance.
But you know what? It's funny. It's like part of me.
The band keeps breaking.
You're breaking the band up, bro. Come on, Yoko. It's funny because like I would love I like watches. Like watches are nice. I don't actually own a nice watch, but I've gone down the rabbit hole and like looked stuff up and I'm like,
it gets crazy.
It gets insane. But like one of the things that like I'm okay about not having a watch with is like I there's some part of me that gets nervous that if I'm wearing a hand watch that someone's gonna ask me the time, and like I know how to tell time, but like under the pressure I'll be like, I'll take way too long to give them the time.
It's 1369.
It's 1369, dude. It's just always sorry, my watch is always at 1369.
They told me a broken clock was right twice a day. So
right. It's a special kind of military time. You would understand. It's top secret confidential information. You're dumb. But I feel like I would choke, dude. I would choke. And it's been so long since I've actually even had to read a hand clock. I'm sure I still got it. But when you're under pressure, that's when I'd freeze up.
All right, just get a G-Shock, man.
Yeah, I could just get a G-Shock. Those are nice. Yeah. I use a phone. I don't like anything on my wrists. I don't know what it is.
The only downside
I'm on
to
the
having,
computer all the time. I hate. Maybe if I'm going out, it's like a wedding or something.
Get used to the weight.
It's not the weight. It's like the rubbing, the rubbing on my wrist as I'm like typing or if I'm gaming.
Okay,
It's just like a thing.
it's a distracting sensation.
It's distracting and irritable.
The only thing that I find very annoying about wearing a watch
Yeah.
is it getting caught on my backpack straps.
Your watch is getting caught on your backpack straps? Oh,
Like when I'm taking off my backpack,
oh yeah. Right.
it's super annoying, and that's actually the reason my band
That
keeps
does suck.
breaking.
That does suck. Yeah.
And I don't have a good solution for it. It hasn't been, something that I've been focused on finding a solution for.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the reason why I'm not wearing a regular watch, is because the band keeps getting torn.
Yeah.
As I'm taking off my backpack, it
Right.
gets hooked up on there, and eventually the cheap silicone band gets torn.
Yeah. I think the only reason I'd wear a watch, or the only time I'd wear one, is if I'm at an event, like dressed up, going somewhere for a nice dinner or like a.
You want to have a nice watch.
Yeah. Right.
Because then it's an accessory.
It's an accessory.
And
I would treat it as an accessory.
There's a limited number of accessories that I, as a man, personally feel like I want to invest in, and I feel like are worth using to kind of peacock a little bit.
Sure.
And a really nice watch is one of them.
Yeah, and it's like I'm with a watch, like I'm peacocking for myself too. Like I just love like the way some of them can look, and like the movement and like all the engineering that goes into them is so cool. It's like, this will be accurate for 48 hours. Before like just it's a geeky thing.
Yeah.
It's a very nerdy thing when you really get into it.
Oh, dude, what is it about watches and knives and flashlights and
right?
I don't know, stamps. Like what is it? Like there's.
Speak for yourself on that one.
I can't speak for myself. I don't.
Cars.
There's something about mechanically useful things.
Right.
That there's just like, it's almost like
We're attracted
a
to
type of fetish.
Yeah.
It's like a dude. It's kind of
intellectual.
It's like intellectual fetish.
It's kind of narcissistic though too, because like we made those things. It's like, look, like I'm so obsessed with the things that we made. You know what I mean? Like it's almost
You
like
personally?
well, our race, like our species.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
it's like maybe that's why we're attracted to it so much, is because it came from us.
Well,
Like
yeah.
to a degree, it's like no other creature could do this. Like look at how awesome we are. Look at this fucking knife, dude.
Yeah. We don't need claws. We have knives.
Like the knife, like all this shit, the watches. It's all the monolith from 2001: Space Odyssey. We're just monkeys dancing around it. Like, look,
yeah.
this is fire, bro.
But there's always people who have, and I initially I was like very tempted to call it a fetish that's specific to dudes. I'm sure there are other people out there who don't identify as men who also find themselves
So if you don't like knives,
drawn
you cannot call yourself
to
a
such things.
Sure.
So it's almost like having an intellectual fetish for a specific type of gadget, or it could be cars, or it could be trains or airplanes or whatever it is.
Right.
Like there's always, if you go digging online, you could pick something that seems super mundane.
Yeah.
Like
But
washing machines, and you will find
there's a subreddit for it.
people who are
Obsessed.
like really into it.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that will work in our favor, because one of the things that happened as we transitioned over the last, century, is a lot of things got lost. A lot of things that were an intermediate stage between, first the concept first getting invented and then it becoming, commercially viable and popular.
Mainstream, yeah.
A lot of those, or even like the first release of something,
Okay.
got lost, got broken, discarded,
Yeah.
And so with the advent of, large organized groups of people who are very fascinated by certain things,
Yeah.
it's almost like you'll
back.
probably have people who collect them, and at some point, they'll collaborate to create a museum of whatever it is.
Right.
Like, what was it? There was some piece of technology that got developed, and then, I mean, this has happened so many times, but it was rapidly superseded by something else, and then it just got abandoned.
HD
HD DVD. That's a good example.
Yeah.
But that's one of many, and there's so many of those that are just because they're not commonly used or popular, but because they represent substantial investment and innovation.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't the winner in the market,
Sure.
they're still worth preserving and remembering.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of a lot of people out there who they're really focused on old Betamax
Yeah. Right.
players or
Exactly.
whatever.
Yeah. Everyone's got their own niche. That I think it's cool because it keeps that thing alive. Otherwise, it would just get lost. It's like they're almost like history books. You know what I mean? Like keeping some truths of our past alive.
Right. So like, for example, this one lady who she videotaped, I think it was like the news or just TV broadcasts in general.
Yeah.
For I don't know what it was. It was like 25 or 35 years. She
Whoa.
had this massive VHS collection of
The news.
TV that would have never been seen again.
Right.
Like
There's
nobody.
no DVR.
There's no recording of the nightly news from Chicago 35 years ago.
Damn, dude.
So, that kind of mentality of people who just go, here's something that could easily be lost.
Yeah.
But it's easily recorded and preserved.
Right.
I guess that's the data hoarder mentality.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
I appreciate that.
you can call out, hoarders and people who are obsessed with a particular thing all you want, but at some point, it's probably going to benefit you in just some small way. You know what I mean? Like just like when I was shopping for a gift, a Christmas gift for my dad. This is just past Christmas, and there was this like gel blaster gun. Those gel blaster beads, like the water dissolving ones or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I was this giant rifle. It's like $100. It's like it's over the top. And I was like, this would be a fun thing for me to get him. But I was like, and I Googled, a review, like reviews on this very particular item. And there's a guy he's just like out in the middle of a forest with a camera, and he's got a mask on. He's like, this is the Extreme Gel Blaster X51. We're doing a shooting range test from 10 feet away. And he like backs up, like shoots at the camera. He's like, we're doing 25 feet away. And he goes all the way back. He goes all the way back to like 150 feet. I'm like, dude, thank God for nerds. Like, I would be making fun of this guy any other time, but right now he's exactly the hero I need. I was like, he sold me on that gun. But like, you wouldn't have that unless you had crazy obsessed people. If you had people, unless you had people who were just fixated on a certain thing. It's like, God bless those people.
Yeah,
they're great.
Especially with the combination of them and the way that information now gets stored on the internet. Especially shout out to archive.org or what is it, the internet a Wayback Machine and Internet Archive.
I don't know that.
Well, okay, so you remember GeoCities, right?
Yeah.
Everybody had GeoCities websites,
right,
pages.
Yeah,
those are all gone now.
Right.
Like they just wiped them all.
Sure.
But if like, let's say you're like, oh, I remember this one I made back in the day, you can go to the Wayback Machine,
backed up,
and a snapshot of that site will be there.
That's crazy.
So
that's pretty cool.
And it's
I gotta look up some stuff that I posted.
I would sooner donate to a cause like that than I don't know, Wikipedia.
Yeah, right.
Because
Wikipedia's so compromised now. It's just so
there's a lot of political,
a lot of fake news.
And there's a lot
manipulative.
Yeah, I mean,
It's too powerful.
it's easy. It's like having a dictionary that you can just
Alter
edit the
to
definition
your
of a
own
word
benefit.
to,
Yeah,
and if you're powerful enough, then you can block anybody from undoing that.
exactly. Yeah,
And then if you leave it long enough, then that becomes the truth.
exactly. Yeah, that's scary. It's too much power.
Yeah.
It's way too much power, and there's too much money going through it for it to be honest.
It's I'm not saying Wikipedia is terrible or anything. It's just it is not a great
Objective.
it's not a great first source to go to. It's
Right.
like if I'm looking something up, I might look at a Wikipedia article,
Right.
but then I'll actually look at the sources that
Yeah.
they cite,
Yeah.
and see what I get from those. 'Cause
Exactly.
those are usually
True.
gonna be pretty useful in fleshing out the information I was
Exactly.
looking for.
I think in college they were like, if you're writing an essay, you couldn't use Wikipedia in your bibliography. You couldn't use it as a source. And I was just like, damn, that sucks. But you're right. They do have the sources like listed where they got it from. So I would just go there.
So
I
you
would
did
just
that
still
trick back then.
Yeah. Still use Wikipedia. Just
So
little workaround.
Wikipedia in that regard is almost like a information aggregator and summarizer, which ironically is something that AIs are now really good at.
yeah.
Although they do make things up
Of course. Yeah.
a lot more than Wikipedia does.
I mean, it makes sense. They're based on us, and we make shit up all the time. Like,
Yes.
we live on fake news. It's like everywhere. Like every news channel, no news channel doesn't have a bias. So it's like, if you're pulling information from ChatGPT or any kind of AI, I mean, it's just a reflection of what we're already spewing out there.
I was having a really interesting conversation with somebody who was very, very politically aware. Like they were aware of what was going on, who was doing what, whose motivations were what.
Yeah.
And I was so impressed. I asked them, like, what do you do? Like, what's your profession, and how do you take, where do you get your news from, especially?
Right.
And they told me basically they read all of the news.
Right.
They listen to all of the news. They watch all of the news.
Yeah.
And then they try to average it out.
Right.
Because that usually ends up being the closest to accurate.
Exactly. The
And
truth
I was
is
like,
somewhere in
how
between.
do you have time for that?
Yeah, that's a full-time job, dude. That's like you can make a career out of that.
Like just to have a relatively accurate idea of what the actual news is.
Yeah.
You have to take all the news and put it into a smoothie.
Yeah.
And strain out 90%.
Is
of it.
anything of like what this person's job is or the career, does it have anything to do with like needing to stay on top of that? Because I could get that if they were like a reporter.
I think they're a history teacher.
Okay, that makes a bit more sense. If
Yeah.
it's just like that's just someone's like working at Starbucks and that's what they do, like they have the time to distill all that down and average things out.
Right.
That's like, dude, I only have so much bandwidth of what I can allocate my resources, my attention, my time span to. Like I need to focus a bit on like what's actually in front of me. You know, who's in front of me. There's only so much news that I really need to make sense of before I'm just like, I think I have enough. I kind of have a gist, a basic idea. Okay, I know the world's not ending. It's fine.
The news is scary. It's
News
like,
is scary. It bums you out.
It does. It's
Totally
like
bums you out.
you have. I personally try to limit my exposure to news sources because so much of it is just like,
Yeah.
okay, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. I already knew that, but I'm still depressed being reminded about it.
Exactly.
Hey, somebody nice took a cat out of a tree for an old lady.
Yeah, that's the one. Dude, God bless cats. Dude, cats are the only thing that's saving the internet right now. I swear. Everything else is just death, destruction, corruption, struggles, pain, suffering. And then there's like cats is the one thing we have to balance it all out.
I mean, there's wholesome stuff about dogs and guinea pigs and bunnies and stuff.
Okay. We can allow
But I
some
will
of the
say,
less superior.
cats carry pretty hard.
Yeah, they do. Their backs are breaking. They got those pepperonis on their shoulders, dude. They're doing the heavy lifting for sure. But that's all I want to see. Really, that's like most of my recommended feed on Instagram is just cat videos, and I love it.
It's funny because that's the opposite. I have actively blocked all cat related
Yeah,
content.
but that's slightly different because it's like you're on on Reddit mostly,
Yeah.
right? And it's like there are so many subreddits. But see, the thing is, like, there's more interesting things on Reddit than there are Instagram. I just feel like there's more information. There's more like things you can learn. There's more educational stuff on Reddit.
And it doesn't get
What are you going to learn on Instagram's just mindless. It's garbage time, garbage brain time is what Paul calls it. It's just like, you're just scrolling through a feed to kill time. You're just killing brain cells. So it's like,
well, I think the critical difference is that Reddit absolutely has an algorithm that wants to show you things that will capture your interest, of course.
yeah,
But unlike Instagram and I think a lot of other social media platforms, it's not as aggressive, and you can kind of somewhat crank it down.
yeah,
So you're tailoring your own interests,
right,
but you're still open to new ideas. You'll get new ideas showing up that are
yeah.
unrelated to your interests, and you could be like ignore or oh that's weird. I never heard of that. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, it's very cool that you can mute subreddits and stuff. Like,
Right.
they don't just like force feed you. Like, no. This is this is what you should be watching.
As opposed to
YouTube or Insta.
as I
TikTok.
understand it, those social media platforms, as soon as you start showing interest in particular things,
Yeah.
you get fed more of those things.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Instead of
If you
like
you watch a video for more than
being-
5 seconds, they're like, we'll show you more of this.
they don't want you to branch out and diverge into things that may or may not interest you.
No, they want you to be
they want to
predictable.
go with the guaranteed interest.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, which is why I have lots of cat videos in my feeds. Highly effective. They're like, all right, this guy's simple. This guy's an idiot. We'll keep him on the app longer than anyone else. He's easy. I'm one and done. I don't like news, dude. I get my news from other people. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but like I'll get my news from like you or Mel or like my parents. They'll just tell me because I don't read the news. Like, okay, I guess the most I'll get from it is on Twitter sometimes, but that's very small amounts, like just little bites here and there.
Yeah.
It's usually when I'm bored. I'm just like, what's on Twitter? Let's watch the shit show unfold, and that's the only time I really get my news. Part of me is like, maybe I should be more informed, but it's like, it's such a rabbit hole. It's like, it would it would take you like all day. It would have to be a full-time job like that guy who just has to gather sources from everywhere and average it out. It's like, I don't care enough. And maybe that's bad.
And
maybe that's bad on me.
It's
Selfish.
It's a defense mechanism, because if you were actually paying attention to the news, then you would know things that are you would be like that are devastating to know.
Yeah.
And they may or may not affect your day-to-day life, but you would still have to deal with the weight of that knowledge.
Yeah, right.
And so there is a certain understanding that I have for people who prefer to remain relatively ignorant when it comes to what's happening in the world,
Yeah,
because it does tend to be depressing as shit.
for sure. And like I know enough about like the Gaza war, like the war in Gaza. Like I know that's happening. I'm not that
Right.
under a rock. Where I'm like, and I can say like, oh look, like there are people suffering on both sides. It's a very very shitty thing. I think it's good enough. Like it's good to at least acknowledge and be somewhat informed, so you can sort of have some empathy for what's going on
Right.
around the world and the people around you.
Not to the point where you have to be like, oh, I'm going to get backed into a corner and I have to pick a side.
Yeah.
Just like I am aware of it and I acknowledge that terrible things are happening.
Yeah.
But I don't have a specific opinion other than this is terrible.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough, or I have enough access to resources to do anything about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I can acknowledge that it's terrible and
right.
be aware that there's human suffering going on.
Right.
And that's the best that I can do.
Exactly. I don't need to be a voice of authority on this topic.
Yeah.
I don't need to speak about this with great detail and background knowledge and context if I'm
Because there are other
discussing it with
people
other
doing
people.
that. There are
Yes.
other people doing that.
who are more qualified, who are more
Yeah.
informed, who it's their jobs, they're getting paid to do it. Like I just need to feel bad. I just need that's my job. Like I just have to feel sorry for people and just be like, that sucks. That's all that anyone should ever expect of, most of us for shit like that. Have some compassion, have a little knowledge, just the basics. It's like just give me the highlight reel. Like all this shit. It's like, like my dad will he's into football. Instead of like watching the full game, sometimes he'll just like watch there's like ESPN Red Zone or whatever. It's just like a 30-second reel of like all the best plays of the game, and he knows the entire game in 30 seconds as opposed to watching it for 3.5 hours. That's being the news.
That's the only way that if I was interested in football, that's the only way I would consume football.
For sure. It's like just give me the hits.
Because football is the most frustrating sport to watch. It takes
That's every sport for me.
3 hours or whatever.
Yeah. Move the ball a few yards.
And there's so many timeouts, there's so many advertisements.
Yeah.
It's like
they
half the airtime is advertisement.
That's so true.
And otherwise you're just like okay, so you have 10 to 15% of the time the game is actually being played.
Yeah, right.
50% of the time advertisements are happening.
Right.
And then the remaining percentage is people commenting about it.
Exactly, yeah.
Or replays with commentary.
Right.
Or
that's why the only reason football makes sense to me, the only way it makes sense to me is if you're at the game live, if you're at the game because it's more of a social event or whatever, or you're like watching it with some friends. Because then it's like you can just banter and just like chill. You're just chilling. It's kind of in the background. You know what I mean? It's like you have other people to talk to, as opposed to just like really just trying to sit like, gruelingly like sit through a game where it's like there's no other stimulus, there's no other action happening. It can be fun. Like the Super Bowl is kind of cool because
it's the best of the best.
Yeah,
stakes are everything high. Is on the line
for sure,
and
there's drama. There's a narrative behind it. It's exciting, and it's like okay, it's just basically like going over a friend's house for a little party and just like eating some food, having some drinks.
Yeah,
it's a reason to get together.
Definitely.
But no, yeah, like I remember over I think it was New Year's Day, Mel and I went to her family's place, her aunt, all the way in Apple Valley, and I think her uncle. No, this is actually at her dad's. It was Christmas actually, and her uncle and aunt were just like they're into football. Definitely the uncle, and he was like,
"Okay,
you into football, Kyle?" And he was like, the game was on, and I was like, "No, not really." He's like, "Oh, okay. What sports you into?" And I'm just like, honestly, like I was raised by a pack of women. I'm not really into that many sports. I'm not into sports at all. Like I play games and I hang out. And then he's like, "You like hockey?" And I'm like.
She's just searching for a way to connect with you.
He's like, baseball. like after I just said I don't like sports. I'm not a sports guy. And like it was just just kept going and going until he was just like bowling. Yeah. Badminton. You're a badminton guy. You like badminton? No, just nothing, dude.
Cricket?
I wasn't giving him anything,
Rugby?
dude. I wasn't giving him anything. I think maybe I said, I think I played volleyball for like a year.
That's one of the downfalls of folks like you and I is that male bonding tends to be like sports is 40% of it.
For sure.
And whether it's in a interpersonal environment or it's a business environment, it's like you have to at least be able to bullshit your way through caring about sports.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
To somebody's like, "Oh, well, what do you think about the Packers?" "Oh, they're probably going to go all the way."
For sure, yeah.
Or what's your favorite team? I just
they start throwing out names.
Try to see if I can remember a team name.
Yeah. Dude, oh my god. He started quizzing me.
The Rams.
He started quizzing me. He's like, Dolphins? I was like, Nebraska? No, that's Miami.
The Cornhuskers.
Yeah. Oh, dude. You're right. Like that's the only reason I would ever really want to get into it, I think, is just for the camaraderie, to be able to to relate to other sports people in my life.
Yeah.
I think that would be the number one reason. But I just
it's tough because it leaves you with a rift, and so you have to rely on other things to kind of bridge that gap.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's more challenging because sports greases the wheels.
It does, yeah.
Of
for sure,
dude conversation.
Because it's like it's perfect for that, because it's like it's a perfect icebreaker or whatever, because it's like so disconnected from anything personal.
There's nothing political about it.
Nothing. Yeah.
The only risk is like, oh, you like that team, I like this
some
team,
beef or whatever.
And these teams are there's a rivalry.
But oftentimes it's like that just leads to like witty, like fun banter. And
yeah,
stuff like
exactly.
That. It's just playful. But
it's an instant bonding, mechanism,
Yeah.
and it's very low risk.
Yeah.
It's very effective, and we don't have much. We have very limited access to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So then, what are the other dude bonding things that we do to compensate? I'm sure
like you and I.
yeah, in our day-to-day lives, I'm sure that outside of sports, there are other things that
Yeah.
you use
Right.
to kind of get around the sports gap.
Well, there's like tech,
Okay. There you go.
There's always tech. Like tech is easy to talk about with dudes. I would say cars.
Oh yeah.
Cars is
Cars
is a big
Cars is a solid
If you don't have sports,
second
at least
place.
You got cars. Cars is a nice backup, dude.
Yeah.
It's a nice save.
I've fallen back on Cars
For
several
sure.
times.
Yeah,
Several times.
Yeah. Yeah, those are big ones. What about you? What else? It's too bad you can't just like talk about games. Like it's too bad like grown men don't really play games all that much.
I go to
It's very niche.
I go to like TV and movies.
Yeah.
Like,
media.
oh, I'm really into this show. Have you seen this?
Right.
Oh, what do you like?
Yeah,
Blah, blah, blah. Or
shows are good.
music.
Right. Music is good.
Sometimes I'll try literature.
Yeah.
That's pretty niche.
Yeah.
But occasionally it hits.
Right.
And when it does, it's like that's a solid one.
Nice.
Like if you can be like, oh yeah, I love that author.
Yeah.
That's as good as a sports connection.
For sure. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
But yeah, it's sports, then cars, then tech and gadgets.
Yeah. Movies, music.
And past that, it's like, so what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Actually, I got into that conversation with Mel's uncle, and it was actually pretty interesting. Because I didn't really know. Like I, met him several times now, and
I build
had no idea
extremely expensive cat warmers.
Dude, that'd be fascinating, dude. I have a million more questions for you.
No, that's literally what you do.
Oh, for me. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, that is what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. My job's fucking awesome. I just wait around all day, hoping that someone will ask me what I do for a living, so I can tell them that.
Yeah.
And then have their mind be blown. Like, wow, you're so awesome.
I mean, it
You
is
wanna trade
pretty
places.
cool. It is a unique profession, and I'm regularly surprised by what it brings to the table for you, like the projects that you get and the work that you get.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm very, very grateful to have it.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful. It's like I don't know if I'll be doing this I don't know if I'll be doing it forever, like till I retire or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, it's been a wild ride. It's been a cool experience, a very cool journey. And I feel like I'm getting like more fired up about it lately because I think I just needed that break. And now that I've had that break, I want to just kind of get more back into it and start ramping up again.
Do you feel like doing the podcast kind of helped bridge the gap for you on that?
I think to a degree, dude, because I don't think I've talked to you since I got back from CES.
I don't think so. I was actually kind of curious about CES.
Yeah, so basically I didn't do any booth coverage. I just did interviews with people, like one-on-one, hour-long interviews. And it was fantastic. I just shot everything from my hotel suite. And it went great. It was exactly the same like format and everything as the podcast.
Okay.
So like we're like wearing headphones and stuff, and it's like triple camera set up, and you got like mic stands and everything.
So,
the whole
so
9 yards.
basically the whole formula that you've already dialed in
exactly
on the road.
Yes. So I think part of me, I don't know why, but like part of me has wanted to improve my interviewing abilities, or just being able to like interview and talk to someone on camera for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
For some reason that's appealed to me. I want to get. It's one of the things I've wanted to get better at when starting this podcast.
Totally.
And I should have some more guests on at some point soon. But it really did. I feel like I just went into it with such confidence after just doing this for so many months.
Yeah.
It's been like 6, 7, 8 months now, and interviewed several people along the way, and I just felt like so ready for it. Whereas before, if it was before any of that, I would have been like, what do I say? Obviously I prepared for each interview and I had like an outline and notes and stuff, but the conversations were just so nice. Everyone was so nice. A lot of these guys I was meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
And
you do make a good natural interviewer.
I don't know. Like it's hard for me. It's always hard to tell how good you're doing. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to tell how other people are doing, but like to look in the mirror and be like, is this? But I was getting a few comments from people that after the interview, they were like, you asked some great questions or, whatever. I was like, okay, that's a good sign. But yeah, it's just been fun. So it's been cool that this podcast, which is kind of like a passion project, I was able to use and like for my main bread and butter channel.
Yeah.
And it's like that I can like sort of just learn. Like I've learned so many things that could be applied to Bitwit. So yeah, I want to try doing it again for Computex.
Okay.
Should be interesting though, because it'll be in a tiny little Taiwanese hotel room, probably.
Which reminds me,
Interviews will be on the bed.
I'm actually interested in possibly traveling to Taiwan for Computex.
Ooh, dude. Yes. You definitely should. You definitely should, especially before China takes it over.
I figured that because
we
it's
may
like
not have much time left.
We may only have a year or two, you know.
Seriously. Apparently there was a new president elected who is like anti-China. There was like one in the running, a candidate that was very pro-China. It was like, that's like game over. That guy gets elected.
Yeah.
So fortunately, good guy got elected. I was hearing all this through.
What are the presidential terms there? Like how long?
I don't know, actually. I don't know how long it is.
Okay.
It's like a year, 2 or 3.
But basically somebody who won't just bend
Hand it
over for China.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. But still, I mean, you just never know. It's crazy. China's insane. And you should definitely go. I'm probably going to book like an Airbnb or a hotel room soon. So.
Okay. Well, I will keep you posted because I would like to make that happen.
You will love it, dude. You'll hate the heat, but
I will.
The fact that I still go every year and it's the one thing I look forward to the most every year.
Is it?
Just in face of all that, the heat and humidity.
Yeah.
Just goes to show how amazing of a place it is. Like
Okay.
I'm gladly it's worth it every time. It's amazing.
Okay.
I'm talking it up too much. Yeah. Sometimes it smells. Sometimes you catch a weird whiff just walking down the streets because they got the sewers are just running underneath all the streets. And the
Dude,
roads.
have you seen? I've seen at least 4, maybe even 5 unique instances of kids dropping firecrackers into manholes.
Oh God!
And then
In the U.S.
I want to say mostly China.
Oh, okay.
They'll drop a firecracker into like the little hole in a manhole.
Yeah.
And then the firecracker will go down and detonate the methane.
Oh.
And then the whole thing just blows the fuck up.
Damn.
But I've seen so many unique instances like cover your manhole holes or put a little mesh on there, keep the fireworks out.
Right, yeah.
Like cuz kids keep blowing things up. Like
that's insane.
Like the manhole covers.
Yeah.
Cuz those things weigh.
They're a lot. They're heavy.
They're very heavy. Those things will fly into the air like 40 feet into the air.
Oh my God. Like China doesn't care. Like, have fun, guys.
They kind of don't.
Yeah.
Dude.
No holds barred.
Yeah. China is a very, like, when it comes to like workplace safety,
life is cheap.
Dude,
labor is cheap, life is cheap.
I saw this video of this work site where they just had some cargo loaded on a truck. It was parked on the road, and then they were going to take a forklift and take the cargo off, take it wherever.
Yeah.
And they just had the forklift stopped in the road, like getting the forks positioned under some crates, some pallets, whatever.
Right.
But here's a fork, here's a truck in the road, and then a forklift next to it, a little gap in between, and someone on a scooter just runs right into the forks because they're at like around like head height.
Oh my God.
And
the forks were head height to them.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then everybody's like, "Oh, that happened," and then they're all milling around like. Meanwhile, everything is the same. Nothing has changed. The forklift is in the same place. The forks are in the same place. The truck is in the same place.
One dude just got decapitated.
I don't know exactly what happened, but it was obviously not a good thing to have happen. Meanwhile, somebody else on another scooter does this exact same thing.
Oh my god.
And there was 2 people on the first scooter,
Whoa.
and the second scooter had 1 person on it.
Yeah.
And then finally after that, they were like, "Oh, okay, well, let's take the forklift and back it up so that there's not forklift forks in the middle of the road where people are going to like zip through."
They're like, it's getting kind of messy on this road. We should probably back out. These guys are kind of interfering with our work.
Yeah, exactly. Like
they're fucking up our forklift.
In the U.S., there would be like
crazy lawsuit.
There would be like cones set up. There would be like barriers.
That would be closed off. That whole road would be closed off.
Right.
Oh my god, dude.
Whereas in China, it's just
wild.
like
It's just like
it's
they're living like it's GTA. You know, like,
seems very GTA.
But they are really living like they got infinite respawns or something.
Yeah, which would be nice to have at least. I'd like to have at least 1 respawn.
One get out of jail free, 1 get out of coffin free card.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of nice.
I'd probably if I had to make a deal with some
some devil, some
extra
devil.
Extra temporal or whatever entity,
superficial being or supernatural being.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'll sacrifice a testicle.
Oh, for an extra life, for 1 up.
And if they wouldn't take that, I might give them an eye.
Ooh, really? For a 1 up?
I don't know, man. Like that's worth a lot, you know.
It is, but like both eyes, like an eye is
a single eye
too.
A single eye.
You just walk around with a patch all day, like for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
be cool with that.
I don't know. Maybe if
that's annoying, dude. Just try shut. You ever try to shutting your eye and pretending like what it's like to have 1 eye? It sucks.
It does, but it's better than having no eyes and being dead.
Yeah, but that's low chance of you just like dying prematurely.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Pretty low chance.
Here's the thing. Yeah. I figure
I'm a gambling man.
I'd have to just definitely check the fine print because I don't want to be like 89 years old.
Yeah.
And then die of a heart attack and then respawn and I'm still 89 years old.
Yeah.
And I die of another heart attack the next day.
That is true.
I don't want that.
Such a waste. You just wasted an eye for no reason.
Yeah.
Okay. What if you at some point, let's say you sacrifice your eye at like 25 years old.
Yeah.
And then you just keep like everything's fine. At what age, at what point would you go, you know what? I really want to make the most use out of this extra life that I you know.
That's why I say I would read the fine print and be like, okay, if I respawn, do I respawn the age that I am when I die?
And all your loot?
Like, do I keep all my limbs?
Okay.
You know,
or do you come back fucked up from the accident?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You come back, you got exactly. Like, no jaw. Like,
or do I come back to the present, right. Or do I go back to when I made that deal?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I would check the fine print. But yeah, I would probably reach a point where I was like, okay, I'm in pretty bad health. Let's cash in this extra life and see where it gets me.
Damn. What would you do? Like, let's say you were getting older. Like, let's say you turn 70 or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, I still haven't used this extra life that I have. Like, would you like do some risky shit?
Probably.
Yeah. Because like, hey, it's a free life. Like, I might as well. I don't know, like try to fight a bear or something, or
I could get a reputation as extreme sports grandpa or something. I don't know,
or like try like free soloing or something. I'd burn that life quick, dude. I'd be a free soloer for 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you could be like, "Bye, everybody. See you later."
See you in a few.
What would you be willing? What's your limit for trading for an extra life?
Ooh. I'd go see the Titanic in a submersible.
No, but like, would you give?
What would I
testicle?
Do? What would I do?
An
no,
eye?
I would not live. I would give a testicle, sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like I could live very easily without one of them. An eye, I wouldn't give up. I like my eyes, dude. I don't want to look like it. Like I don't want to hear like pirate jokes for the rest of my life. You know, that's gonna be annoying.
But what if you come up with a really good story?
I mean, I wouldn't even need to come up with one. I'd be like, dude, someone offered me an extra life. That is the story, dude.
Yeah.
Why do I need to embellish that?
Well, then that should make you okay
That's
with not
not worth
having
it,
an
though.
eye.
Not having a cool story. Just having a cool story isn't worth it. I mean, I would give up a finger.
Oh yeah, no, I would
I'd
definitely
give up a digit or two. I'd give up a digit or two. Just be like a Simpson, just have like 4 fingers. Just give up a pinky on each one, or maybe like a ring finger. So I'm always doing the shocker. That'd be kind of fun. That'd be a great just icebreaker in general. You'd always have something to talk about. I wouldn't give up a limb. No way. Limbs are valuable.
Dude, prosthetic limbs are badass though.
Okay, that's true, but it's still such an adjustment. That's such an
But
adjustment.
for an
having to
extra
learn.
life,
Okay, if prosthetic limbs get even cooler, where it's like I get like super strength or like mega like super fine precision, like I could like get a bullseye on a dartboard every time. If they become like that cool, I would definitely do it.
dude, that's coming. Like
Yeah,
like the world
sure.
the world as foreseen in Deus Ex is
yeah, it's
coming.
upon us for sure.
So here's the
That's
question.
pretty cool.
When that time comes, because the whole extra life conversation is fun, but ultimately fruitless because that's not going to happen.
Sure.
When the time comes,
Yeah.
how will you view people who choose to give up perfectly healthy limbs and replace them with augmented limbs?
Well, it depends. Is it taking away like supply from people who actually need them?
No, it's like it's the equivalent of
Plastic surgery.
it's the equivalent of plastic surgery plus like a supercar's worth of money installed on your body.
I mean, it's like it's their money, it's their body.
Yeah.
Whatever they can do, whatever the hell they want. Like,
But what if now all of a sudden you're walking down the street
yeah.
and there are people who could just casually tear your head off
Okay.
because
Okay, yeah.
their
Right.
strength is amplified.
Okay, yeah, within reason. Like, I think when that does eventually happen, if that takes place in society, like it needs to be regulated. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Obviously, there's always going to be a black market. There's someone's going to buy a mega like a superhuman Iron Man arm off the internet, or you know what I mean?
Okay.
But I think it's got to be like no, that's just insane to have like everyone's like a fucking Avenger. Has Avenger strength and just
Well,
walking
it's
around.
not everybody. It
It's
just
chaos.
could be anybody.
But I mean, even if it's a
So
select
you would
group of
go,
people,
okay, so there's
Just
civilian
the
grade
wealthy.
grade augments, there's
Yeah.
police grade augments,
Yeah.
and then there's military grade augments.
Yeah, you shouldn't just have a civilian have a military grade augment. They can't have a rocket launcher in their leg.
Okay, but if I lived in another state,
Yeah.
not pretty much any state, almost
If
any
it was
state
not
other than this
California,
state,
it'd be legal.
I could have
You could probably have a missile.
military grade,
have a
I
machine
could
gun
have
coming
an
out of your finger.
M60. I could have, if I put in enough time and effort and money, I could have
But not legally.
legally.
I mean, I don't think we'll ever get to that point.
I won't, but my point being there are
Yeah.
people who have legal arsenals
Right.
of extremely high-end military weapons.
Yeah.
Not man pads
Yeah.
or RPGs necessarily.
Sure.
Those are not something that I think you can acquire legally.
But it's easier to stash those under your basement than it is to like have it in your arm, like on your body, on you at all times. It's like if I carried around an RPG on my back 24/7, like someone would probably notice that, and I'd get in trouble.
That's why you carry it in your prison pocket.
Your prison wallet,
Yeah.
just a Tommy gun comes out of your butt.
Yeah. But okay, so you think that when human augmentation becomes commonplace,
Yeah.
affordable, that okay, so what if it's okay, so you would go, okay, I want civilian grade, police grade, and military grade kind of level of restrictions.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, what about
I think everyone would want that. Most people, like most sane people, you wouldn't want just like any average
okay,
guy.
but what's the difference between having an open carry or concealed carry state
Yeah.
and people who have super gorilla arms?
Yeah, but I mean, it's like the reason why like a handgun might be legal, but you can't buy like in it like a I don't know like a saw, like a crazy machine gun, like a military grade machine gun. It's just different, varying degrees of intensity and potential destruction. You know, especially when it's like built into, like when it's always on you.
Yeah.
Like, and it can't really be. You can't even be disarmed. You can't even be disarmed by it.
Would be literally disarmed. You could have your arm taken off.
Yeah, right. Okay, much more difficult to disarm someone with this crazy, weaponry technology. Like that's a different ballgame for sure.
It's not even necessarily that there's weapons built into it. It's just enhanced, like for
like
example,
super
enhanced
strength.
strength.
I still feel like that could be.
So
I still feel
basically,
like that could
having
be used.
people who could get their legs or their arms
Yeah.
replaced with limbs of
Right.
superhuman strength and speed.
That's
right?
insane. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. I mean, unless you're like an authority, like a cop or something like that, or military, it's crazy to just like let random civilians have that strength.
But that's coming. Like sooner or later, something along those lines. That's why I said like prosthetics are already pretty badass.
Yeah.
And I think there's a gestalt that
Okay.
is going to lead to human augmentation.
There's varying degrees of like what kind of strength we're talking about here. Like, you know what I mean? Like current prosthetic, like, yeah, you can lift certain things that are heavier than what your human arm would be able to.
Right, and there are people who with prosthetic legs can run faster than most people.
Yes.
With normal
Exactly.
or average legs.
And that's one thing, but are we, if we're talking about like I can lift a car and just chuck it like a baseball.
Okay, so
that's
here's the
another
thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing is if you have a augmented arm,
Yeah.
you can't lift a car with it
Right.
because the rest of your body won't support that weight. So you would just tear your arm off.
I see. So then it's not really super strength that we're talking about.
Well,
You're still
if you're trying to lift a car, that's not a very useful objective in most cases.
Sure.
If you're just reaching out and crushing somebody's throat,
Right.
there's no limiting factor, right?
True. Yeah.
So if you have a augmented, body parts,
Yeah.
then let's say you get the arms and legs deal. Well,
Yeah.
then you would also have to spring for like an internal, like an endoskeleton,
yeah.
that would support extreme loads between limbs,
Right, exactly.
so that you don't try to pick up a car and snap your spine in half.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think, like, yeah, eventually it is going to be super strength because they'll develop a way for your body to handle it, like with an endoskeleton or something like that, some reinforcement. So I think that's crazy. Like,
But
there's no way
on the flip side,
it would need to be regulated.
on the flip side,
It'd be fun.
there you go.
I mean, trust me, dude. Trust me. If it was legal at some point in our future, I would definitely do it. I would fuck around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would try it out with like a maybe a hand first. Mm-hmm. If I like the hand, I'd be like, all right, do the arm. You know, it's like a tattoo. It just like keeps growing. You're like, yeah, this is addicting. But I think it is going to be a serious issue and like an obstacle that we're going to have to rewrite all kinds. We're already rewriting all kinds of laws with AI. It's like it's just going to be a different world, a completely different world.
My original question was, how would you view people? Let's say you could have, scary, powerful, augmented body parts.
Yeah.
And walk down the street among unaugmented people.
Yeah.
How would you look at those people? Would you look at them with fear and mistrust? Would you view them differently?
Again, if there's some kind of regulation, like right now, it's like you can't just buy a gun. Like you have to get a background check and you have to get approved, right? It's like at least in California.
You can talk to the right people and you can get an illegal gun.
True.
That's fully automatic.
Yeah. But okay, what I'm saying is like when I see someone, well, it's hard in California. If I was in like Texas or something, and I saw someone like concealed carry, open carry or whatever,
right?
I would be under the assumption that they went through the proper legal channels to obtain that.
Okay.
And so I wouldn't be scared. I wouldn't be intimidated or anything. And I think the same is true if there was some sort of due legal process to obtain these crazy augmentations. Then if I saw someone
if you just got in an accident?
If I saw someone with a crazy arm, I'd be like, I'm assuming I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they went through the proper legal channels to get that. So the government has deemed them, they're not a psychopath, they're not a serial killer.
But what if they
probably fine.
What if they hacked the firmware?
I could totally be wrong. Yeah. I mean, it's like then they could, and it's like I could be wrong.
So you would probably view them with a little bit of distrust.
If I knew that they hacked the firmware, yeah. But also,
But you don't know.
well, it's just same with like seeing someone with open carry. It's like I don't know if they're really just about to shoot up a bank, or if they're just exercising their rights.
I think it's an interesting philosophical question.
Yeah, it is. I think as more people, it's almost like what they say. It's like, oh, if you're in a town that like everyone's got a gun, everyone's packing, then it's like less of a threat in a way because no one's gonna act dumb when everyone else in the room has a gun. Right. You're outgunned at that point. So right. I think at some point when it becomes mainstream enough where it's like, okay, 3 out of 6 people, half the room has an augmentation of some sort. Like that's going to desensitize a lot of us, like to just be like, okay, this is normal now. This is just how it is.
But then there's going to be some group of people who are like,
bar fights will be insane. Bar fights will be out of control.
People
I can't
will be
wait
getting
to see
thrown
those TikToks.
through windows like crazy.
Those TikToks will be wild, dude. It's gonna look like.
Well, here's the thing. It'll be an eye talk because
yeah.
Because if you get your eye replaced with an augmented eye, then you can just be
viewing constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That scares me more than the augmentations, dude. Having shit
It's
just implanted in your like a constant feed in your brain.
Yeah, somebody or even just an eye that is recording all the time.
Yeah, oh dude, I've seen Black Mirror. I know how that ends. Not well. It doesn't end well for anyone. Dude, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Being able to record DVR, especially if you're like in a relationship. Mm-hmm. It's like, I didn't say that. It's like, yes, you did. You lying son of a bitch.
So if you saw somebody on the street with a replacement eye, you would be like, oh, I don't want to be around them.
If it was a woman, I'd be like, this is Karen. It's definitely a Karen. A Karen would have a recording eye. Just play it back to the manager.
But at that point, you wouldn't see people with eye patches anymore.
That is true. Eye patches are kind of fun though. I like eye patches when I'm not wearing them. I like seeing other people without eyes.
I've seen some stylish eye patches out there.
I guess that is kind of a fun way to customize your outfit and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think I have seen too many
that's
fun
making lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, right. What would you put? I'd put like a bullseye. That would actually be really funny.
I don't know.
Target practice, bro.
Maybe just a smiley face with one eye.
Or just an eye.
just a really crudely drawn eye.
Yeah.
I've seen it done. It's not pretty.
No, dude, that sounds terrible.
It is
stuff of nightmares.
This is very disturbing.
Sounds horrific. All right, we should call it here. I have to pee too.
All right, I'm gonna play some DRM.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
you're gonna close this out with some DRM.
So this was a big thing a while back, and Kyle had never heard of this, and I wanted to fill him in on it.
All right, maybe yeah. Okay, go ahead.
How bad do you have to go?
No. I don't.
Okay, so there's this guy, and he had a playlist.
Okay.
For sexy times.
Okay.
And he was like, my girlfriend is like, she's complaining. She's like, this song is turning her off like crazy.
Boner kill.
And he was like, but it's a good lovemaking song with good rhythm.
Okay.
And
jury's out on that.
It's this.
Let's hear it. All right, already no.
Wait for it.
It's like comedic. Okay, ready for the drop. It sounds like they recorded the noises the bed was making while they were doing it. It just sounds like a dying bed that people are having sex on.
Other good descriptions include robot dolphin sounds.
Robot dolphin, yeah.
A mouse.
Dolphin ogs.
A mouse caught in the talon of an owl and slowly dying.
Yeah.
2 awkward balloons fucking. The best part, in my opinion, is that he based on the feedback he received,
Yeah.
he removed this song from his playlist, but there was no music, but he was still thrusting to the beat of that song. She recognized this and asked me to stop.
Damn, dude, that's wild. That would suck if that was the only way you could finish. You know, like you're getting hot and heavy with someone for the first time. You just start dating. Like, hey, like I got this thing. You know, this is the only way that I can make it happen. It's got to be this song.
So you might want to wear earplugs.
Just here, put these on. Earmuffs. Yeah, dude. That's I'm gonna try that next time. I'm legit gonna try. I'll report back.
Okay.
I'll report back.
I'm afraid for you. I think you are very adventurous.
I can't wait, dude.
I admire your sense of willingness to put your relationship on the line.
Oh, it's gonna be glorious. All right.
I doubt that will be the word for it, but good luck on your endeavor.
I'm looking forward to reporting back. But I should probably I got a playlist to make, dude.
I think
cut it off.
I think we can find that dude's playlist if you want.
Definitely. Yeah, we definitely will. I can't wait, dude. I'm so excited. Thank you guys for watching this one. Episode 32 in the can. Please follow the Discord. Follow the Discord over there. It's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Everyone's friendly. Everyone's hanging out, having a good time, having fun. And rate us on all the other apps that we're on too. That helps a lot. We actually have a few ratings.
Which are
like Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. I think those are the big 3.
Oh man, we're on the big 3.
We're on the big 3, dude. We're basically famous.
Okay, I'll take it.
So if you guys want to rate us there, it helps us with the SEO and search rankings and all that. So thank you very much, though. We will see you next week.
We appreciate you.
We do. Adios. Bye.